3 JRPGs in one day. Is it possible? Well, I attempted to with Mother 1, 2, and 3, enlisted the help of a professional speedrunner, and during this learned several new interesting things about each game I can't wait to share. Here are the rules. 1. No glitches, so no skipping to the end. 2. The timer starts at power on for each game and doesn't stop until I reach its final screen. And if it does at any point, that's a plus 5-minute penalty per minute. For Mother 1, we're going to be playing the GBA version on the Mother 1+2 fan translation. This choice has many benefits and drawbacks, which we'll discuss as they come up. The first drawback, however, comes before the game can even start, as there are some screens before you can actually get to the games. But like I said, the timer starts at power on, so hopefully I don't need to deal with that too often. After naming the cast and watching the introduction, the run can properly begin. Also want to clarify, I will not be using the easy ring as it was added in the fan translation, so it's not part of the official game. We immediately start the fight with the lamp and go to the settings to set our text speed to 5, the fastest setting. It'll add up. After that, we fight the doll for the first melody and head to the basement for the cracked bat, bread, and great-grandfather's diary. Here we fight 7 rats, which will get Ninten up to level 3 before we leave. Wouldn't be a Mother playthrough without some grinding. And with that, we can finally leave Ninten's house and get right back to grinding. From here, we fight enemies outside Ninten's house to get us to level 5, which takes 125 experience points. This takes a while too, as the most XP you can get from an enemy in this area is 6 from beating a hippie. While the bat and diary are needed for obvious reasons, the bread is also really important to saving us a lot of time, and the crow stole it. 16.5 minutes in, we can finally truly begin. We upgrade our bat, get the canary chick for later, and rebuy our bread, dropping it in front of Town Hall. We head down to the graveyard and book it for Pippi. At level 5, nothing should impose too much of a threat to us. Once we rescue her, we get ourselves to level 7 for safety, then warp back to Mother's Day with the breadcrumbs. We drop her off and get the zoo key, then make a safety save for reasons you'll see soon. Heading northwest, we bring the canary back to our mother, receiving our second melody about 34 minutes in. A major reason we're playing the 1+2 version of this game is the run button. Though it was implemented in beginnings, it in junction with the free range movement feels just too good to pass up. Next, we keep heading north to the zoo. At our current level, the enemies here aren't too bad, but it's a test of endurance. At the office, we need to get this rope item, it's imperative. We grab a couple healing items on the way up and reach Starman Jr. We use the rope so that he's immobilized for a random amount of turns so that we can wail on him before he gets the chance to— oh, he broke free. Oh, and I died. Yep, the zoo can be a run ender for many, but as for me, the time keeps going. I respawned back in Mother's Day before getting the second melody, so we have some backtracking to do. We get the melody for the second time, get to the zoo again, get to the office once more, and he kills me again. Part of the reason this fight can be so tough is his potential use of PK Beam Gamma, which is an instant kill. I'd forgotten to get the Franklin badge from Pippi, so I had no defenses against it. This happened 3 more times. I am now level 11, and with a very careful mix of healing and attacking, I finally beat the second boss of the game. Now that the zoo is calmed, we head to the Singing Monkey and get the third melody, an hour and 14 minutes into the run. You're probably seeing why the run button is so important to this now. We now head east to Magicant, entering with telepathy, and for some reason this woman just wouldn't let me through. After saving and healing, we head to Queen Mary's castle to get the boomerang, one of the best weapons in the game actually. This is the point in the run where you would usually grind up to level 10, but I'm good there. We withdraw all our money and buy the most expensive armor we can, in this case the Goddess Bracelet, granting us plus 80 defense. Now, despite my level, I don't want another zoo situation, so I'm grinding anyway, which isn't too bad with enemies like the Bonus Swoosh who grants lots of experience points here. Into the Magicant Caves, we make our way towards the Cave Master. This section is another reason we're using the 1+2 version, which altered some maps to be more straightforward. We fight the Cave Master, who is a joke with our armor and level, and get the Onyx Hook, allowing us to return to Magicant at will. Leaving Magicant, I forgot to store the diary with the storage lady, which will come back to bite me in the butt later. Exiting the cave, we head north to Thanksgiving. I stopped by the department store and bought some bread and started a trail outside Twinkle Elementary. From here we go south to the little sweet factory to get a bottle rocket for Lloyd. The layout is really simple, so it's a breeze, especially at this level, but don't worry, we'll get to the annoying factory soon enough. Throughout the Magicant caves and factory, we picked up both the basic sword and knife weapons, but this is only to sell them as they can be sold for a lot of money. Unfortunately, however, this is the point I should let you all know. On this adventure, we will not be joined by either Anna or Teddy, which is a Shakespeare caliber tragedy. Please comment "We miss you, Anna and Teddy" to let them know you care, or Teddy will stab you. Just kidding, we sold his weapons. After getting the bottle rocket, we breadcrumbs our way back to the school, and once we get access to the roof, Lloyd joins the party. Back at the department store, we buy a boomerang for Lloyd, 4 breads, and 3 repel rings. These are yet another reason we're using the 1+2 version. In the original game, this was known as the Friendship Ring, which did absolutely nothing, but in later releases was reprogrammed and repurposed to act as essentially a repel like in Pokemon, making weaker enemies unable to encounter the party for an extended period of time. We save, then use one on our way out of town. Going north, we start a bread trail at this boulder, then head northwest until we get to Duncan's Factory. This place isn't too hard, but it's big and easy to get lost in, so I marked up this map of the place, which I think may be different in the 1+2 version as it doesn't match up exactly. We also make much use of Ninten's ability Dimension Warp, which is a 100% guarantee to flee from fights, though it costs a lot of PP. He usually learns this move at level 11, but for some reason in 1+2 they altered this so he learns most PSI moves a level earlier. I made it through in one piece, which is a real relief because the real challenge of this section is keeping Lloyd alive, who's very low leveled. He needs to be conscious to launch the rocket, opening the next section of the world, so if he dies you either go all the way back to Thanksgiving to revive him, or reset to the last save there, which will make it so you have to trek all the way back anyway. From here, we breadcrumbs back to the boulder and follow the train tracks. We're going to take a detour here and head to Yucca Desert, which is very treacherous. But by simply heading up right here, we arrive at the cactus to get another melody, just under 2 hours in. That's not so bad though. The real tough part is getting out of the desert. We now have to cross a long way through the desert and then following the train tracks all the way to Easter, encountering many enemies who can even destroy my level 16 Ninten. And sadly, I did die a few times. It also doesn't help the scorpions can poison you, and I don't have a level of healing to get rid of it. I went through all the stages of denial too, trying to see if I could take the train there. It got ugly, man. Something I'd been forgetting about though was the PSI stone I got from Magicant, which restores lots of PSI over multiple uses for free before randomly deciding to turn into a normal rock. Also, look at this fight I got into against a Starman while poisoned. This run is not for the faint of heart, and this was followed by another fight with a Starman, then Jane. By the skin of my teeth though, I made it to Easter, still poisoned. I rushed to the baby in the northwest of town and learned Teleport, with just enough PSI too. I don't know how many people know this, but Telepathy costs 1 PP to use in this game, and I made it to him with 2. With Teleport in mind, we Onyx hook back to Magicant to prep ourselves for the most difficult part of the run yet. After healing up, we teleport back to Easter and head east towards the swamp. This is what we bought all that bread in Thanksgiving for. This is a long endurance match with the game. The swamp is full of really powerful enemies, especially for the make of our team, so we have to be prepared. We use our PSI to teleport to travel across the area. We do this by teleport bonking, where we begin a teleport and hit a wall or something before we can actually teleport away, which would set back our progress. This window is roughly 4 seconds. We do this because in this teleport running state, the game prevents random encounters. Not gonna lie, I was schmoovin' here. Look at that. Look at me go. We do this all the way to the house with Pippi, where we heal, restoring our PSI, as teleport costs 3 each use, and then use our first bread to establish a trail. We then continue our way through the swamp. It takes a while, but we eventually make our way to the other side, crossing the final bridge. However, we're not done yet. The enemies here are still really tough, so we continue bonking until we are all out of PSI to keep going. This is why we use that bread at Pippi's. At this point, we use Ninten's bread to start a new trail, use Lloyd's breadcrumbs to go back to Pippi and heal, then use Ninten's breadcrumbs to resume bonking from where we were before. Pushing forward, this is where most runners keep going towards Mountain Toy, but I don't have that much faith in myself. So instead I make my way into Valentine to establish a new place I can teleport to in case I die, then keep going. Before we continue though, let me explain why this part can be so difficult. This is actually a drawback that comes from playing the GBA version. If in the Famicom version you set your breadcrumb trail at, say, Pippi, then continue but die in the swamp because you got unlucky, you could use your breadcrumbs to go back to Pippi. This is not the case in 1+2. In GBA, if you die while a breadcrumbs trail is active, its location is erased and will only bring you back to the beginning of the area you're currently in. Meaning this whole trek needs to be made in one go, or you start back from the beginning of the swamp. And again, if you're not careful, you may accidentally execute the teleport and have to waste bread backtracking. It can be brutal. Back to Valentine, we continue bonking once more to the medicine man's house. Here we get several medicines for free from him, which we'll need for much later. We heal, then this is the rough one, we make our way to Mount Atoy and start the climb. This area, for those who don't know, was notoriously not playtested and balanced, and is known for being the hardest stretch of the game, usually being completed at the end of a playthrough. We're doing it in the mid-game, however, for routing reasons. Luckily, within the cave we can still teleport, allowing us to continue bonking. However, rooms 2 and 3 are incredibly narrow, so we just have to hope and pray we get no encounters, as most starmen are basically fatal, even with the Dimension Warp at our disposal. And with just a little more bonking, we make it to the outer mountain. We continue bonking, even up ropes, and dang it, we die, placing us all the way back to Valentine. We heal, then try again. This time I ran into some of these Branger guys, but luckily they don't attack much, so I was able to Dimension Warp out. And then got super lucky successfully running from these starmen, only to run into more a few steps later, and successfully flee again. I was able to get back to the plateau on this try, with Lloyd even alive this time, and got to the healer's house. In a regular playthrough, this is nice to see, but man, in this run it was a godsend. We heal, then make a very important safety save. Back outside, we bonk our way to the broken boat, which Lloyd fixes. We head down and activate Eve, our savior. With her in the party, it's time for one last grind. Using her incredible strength, we have to get Ninten all the way up to level 25 for a level check coming up. Believe it or not though, I actually still died during this, due to still not having a Franklin badge to deflect beam gamma. This may not seem like a huge issue, as levels are maintained between deaths, but if you die with Eve in your party, she dies too, barring you from continuing the grind. So I had to reset, hence why we safety saved and did it again. Then I died again. On the third attempt though, I was able to get to 25 and kept heading towards the mountaintop. On the way up, an enemy dropped a super bomb, which is great as we needed one anyway. If it didn't happen here though, they can be bought at Twinkle Elementary, another addition to the GBA version. There we fought the giant robot, giving us our next melody. In the GBA version, Eve will give you the memory chip as well after she's destroyed, allowing you to teleport back to her robo-corpse. So this is actually a checkpoint in case we die, as there's still a little bit more of the mountain to go as we head towards the peak. With just a little more bonking, we make it to George's tombstone, netting us yet another melody, giving us our 6th out of 8 just over 3 hours in. With Mount Atoy completed, we teleport back to Thanksgiving for some more rappel rings and bread. This is where not storing that diary came back to bite me, as I was running low on inventory space and ended up having to use some of my medicines, which is going to end up costing some time in a little bit. The last thing we buy is a rope. We save, then take the train to Halloween, allowing for a much needed bathroom break. We grab the key to the haunted mansion and enter it. With our rappel ring activated, not much bothers us here that we can't handle at this point with buff Ninten. The mansion may seem confusing, but the pattern for the doors is actually really simple. Up twice, down twice. We grab the medicine and our 7th melody. We now use the Onyx hook to go back to Magicant for the final one. At last, I store our unneeded items and make some final preparations, going back to the medicine man's house to restock. We return to the Magicant caves where we make sure Ninten has the rope and Lloyd has the super bomb. And we check the dragon, who will fight us now that Ninten is level 25. The fight starts and we have Ninten use his rope, immobilizing him, then Lloyd chucks the super bomb, defeating him in one turn. This is an insane strategy I can't believe works. It seriously feels like it was an oversight, as the super bomb isn't meant to work on bosses. But it's awesome. We get the final melody, then see Queen Mary, bringing us to the peak of Mount Atoy. Lloyd then immediately dies because I forgot there are still enemies here. I heal up, then teleport bonk my way forward. With that, we finally reach Gygus. We open with a PSI shield on Ninten and sacrifice Lloyd. We then use Quick Up to raise Ninten's speed, then the next couple turns we just keep healing. Once we get the ability to sing, it's the end. While Gygus can be a tough fight, he actually has a pattern that can be pretty easily exploited. From here, we sing a couple times, then use a medicine, which is a full HP restore. Rinse and repeat. With that, Gygus retreats. Don't worry though, he'll be back soon. However, we are not done. Now we must watch the ending, because that timer doesn't stop until we reach the final screen. This is another disadvantage of playing 1+2 here, as the game features an extended ending, while the Famicom version just immediately rolls credits after Gygus flees. After that though, we get the proper credits and reach the phone call from Ninten's dad, ending the run at 3 hours, 44 minutes, and 51 seconds. But the other games are going to be much longer. On to Mother 2. For EarthBound, we'll be leaving 1+2 in honor of the glorious Super Nintendo version. Also see, told you Gygus would be back. We once again name our party, then hop into the game. No crazy movement early on, just going as fast as possible through the opening. Once we head back out for Picky though, it's time to get more serious. With random encounters no longer being the mode of battles initiating, we'll be making excessive use of Snot to despawn enemies. Straight up, I am no good at stutter stepping, a technique used to get past enemies with specific movement patterns, so I'm not going to be using it, which will end up costing me some time, but I'm just going to have to deal with that. As are you, vicariously. Starman Jr. starts while we'll be doing quite a bit in this run, and that's using auto fight. Like in Mother 1, it makes the text move faster, as you don't have to deal with selecting actions, which will be helpful for some fights. In 2.0net, we get the Mr. Baseball cap to immediately sell it in order to be able to afford a lot more armor, primarily the very helpful cheap bracelet. All to die to the first shark battle. It sucks dying in the early game, as the best strategy from there is to heal with Ness's mom, then walk all the way back, but there's no time to mope about it, we'll just need to continue pressing on. After the Photo Man. Frank and Frankie Stein Mark II aren't that bad, even at only level 4, as with Frankie you just need to heal after any time he hits you, and Mark II has a very easy to deal with pattern, bringing Ness to level 5. After getting the key to the shack, we stock up on burgers then head to Giant Step Cave. Here we battle slugs until we reach level 8, granting Ness his uber useful PK Rockin' move. We then take on Titanic Ant, and check out this super close call I had, oh my gosh. With that, we get the first melody of round 2. This next part can be tricky, as the cops aren't too bad as our hamburger supply lets us heal as needed, but Strong can be pretty unpredictable, as if he continuously grapples Ness and Rockin' doesn't work, there's a definite chance you could die, which is a bigger setback due to having to refight all the previous cops before even getting another shot at him. Luckily I had a good run, now off to Tucson, about 37 minutes in. On the way, we get an exit mouse, then skip this Photo Man spot to get a bunch of money at the department store. We make sure to save at this payphone, you'll see why later. We feed and pay Apple Kid, then rush to Peaceful Rest Valley. You don't actually need to check the pencil statue for Apple Kid to call, you just need to get the sprite to load on screen, so that'll save a few seconds. We get the pencil eraser and head back. Now we snot through the valley. The thing about speedrunning EarthBound is it's much more a test of the player's endurance than Mother 1 is. The first game has a lot of execution stuff one after another, while EarthBound is more about long-term setups and in the meantime really just playing as fast as possible, most of the time. On the way, we make sure to grab 2 magic butterflies in order to restore Ness's PSI, then arrive at Happy Happy Village, avoiding the insane cultists as they can really drag on their battles. After some item management, we visit Paula for the Franklin badge. If only I had used sooner. For this forced encounter, we open with Rock and then use it again if we had middling rolls for its damage, which is based on Ness's speed stat. Inside the cult's mansion, we beat another forced encounter, then get to Carpainter. Now, in theory, he's not too bad. He has a pretty defined pattern, but Rockin' rolled low for me and I ran out of enough PSI to use it. I also was low on healing items, so I thought I was looking at yet another death, but luckily I was able to heal just long enough to hold him off until he could beat himself with his own thunder. Yet another close call, and this would have been a bad place to die, which I'll explain why shortly. Paula joins the party and we go to Lilliput Steps Cave. Not to fight Mondo Mole though, he's way too tough right now, to kill ourselves. We let this mole playing rough beat the party, purposely getting a game over, letting us death warp all the way back to this payphone in Tucson, skipping the walk back from PRV. Good thing I didn't die to Carpainter. We revive Paula and bring her home. After getting the needed key items, we enter the Chaos Theater, trying to avoid the Photo Man. Emphasis on try. Then get a nice little bathroom break as the Runaway 5 perform. We set them free and ride with them all the way to Threed, just over an hour in. I hope nothing bad happens to totally derail my pace. We follow the Bikini Zombie and it's off to Winners. In this section, it's all about planning carefully as we rush. Jeff is fragile, so the less we plan, the more likely it is we'll make a mistake. This is a section with some important execution stuff needed to move the most efficiently. After leaving the school, we get Bubble Monkey, the greatest character in all of fiction, then head south, following a route suited to let us avoid as many fights as possible, especially this gruff goat who could easily kill us. We walk around this tent to avoid another photo shoot, then ride Tessie for a mini bathroom break. When we arrive on the other side, there's a gruff goat just south with a virtually 100% spawn rate and takes forever to despawn. However, we have a fix for this. Once we get control back, we head directly down left, hug this wall, and cut across these trees to always despawn him, and head into the mini dungeon. Now, up here, we set up what's known as present skip. Bubble Monkey disconnects from Jeff a lot while moving, so we move back and forth from here until he does this 4 or 5 times, which will mark a part of his cycle where he'll stay with Jeff for a bit. Once we do this, we move left, triggering the next worthless protoplasm, and then go down to avoid it. We can do this because these present enemies move in straight lines to the exact position the player is at. The rest is not too bad, snotting through Winter's Cave. It takes some patience, but is definitely the easier part of this section. These mushrooms can be annoying, but once there are only 2 on the right, we wait for them to get stuck on this wall, then book it out. One final stretch, and we fly to Threed, granting us yet another generous bathroom break. Jeff joins the party, and we leave the grave. We grab this teddy bear for safety, buy Jeff some big bottle rockets, then do a much-needed safety save. It's now time for Boogie Tent. Ness is on healing duty while Jeff and Paula attack. Paula freezes, attempting for a solidification, and Jeff fires rockets. If Ness has the bandwidth, he also fires off Rockin'. We saved because if Jeff dies, you're basically forced into praying with Paula, hoping she revives him. Very important save. We give the fly honey to Paula, important, then get a call from Apple Kid. While we wait for the zombie paper, we go into the tent. The delivery man will spawn inside there and give it to us, then vanish. We then use the paper immediately and heal at the hotel. From there, it's into the Threed Underground. This is a tough stretch, as we want to avoid all encounters with zombie dogs and ghosts at all costs, in pretty tight quarters. Even leaving to try and despawn one enemy may put you right into a battle with another. We make sure to grab this skip sandwich on the way. Very important. My run wasn't too bad, and I got a green swirl on these ghosts, which gives you a 100% flee chance. The mini barf can be unpredictable, but isn't too bad either. Bottle rockets and rockin' away. Heading through Grapefruit Falls, we skip the presents, we'll be back for them later, and arrive in Saturn Valley. Here we heal and talk to this Mr. Saturn to trigger the waterfall password. We also want to make a safety save here, which I forgot to do. We then head to the factory. We get a nice break at the falls, then enter. This is another place that can be awkward to get through. Close spaces, and these slimy little piles are the bane of my existence. You need Paula alive here, as freeze is super important to defeating them, especially if you're me who can't stutter step. This jerk called in 4 more of them, which just overwhelmed me, so I threw out the battle and died. Luckily, there was a safety save in Saturn Valley, which I forgot to do! I spawned all the way back in Threed, with both party members dead, which led to an insanely annoying trip back. I got back to the valley though and healed, and saved. I then got back to the factory and I died again. I finally got back to where I was to continue, and this cost me about a half hour of time. Belch, however, thankfully wasn't bad. We defend on turn 1 with Ness and Jeff while Paula uses the fly honey. From here, we spam our best attacks, and especially freeze, making quick work of him. Once he's gone, we exit mouse out of the dungeon back to Grapefruit Falls. Yep, we're putting off Trillionage Sprout too. On the way back to Threed though, we make sure to pick up this protein drink. It's very important we do this. We then take the bus and head into Dusty Dunes. By walking through this patch of grass, we can despawn this mole playing rough, which I had no idea was even possible. Then hug the wall as we make our way to the gold miners. We give him some food, actually the bread roll Paula had from when she joined the party, then keep on to Fourside. At the hotel, we get about $200 for some upcoming expenses. We establish the Runaway 5 quest, then head back to the mines. And by the way, we're sticking to this lower part of the bridge to avoid the photo man. He doesn't need pictures of us. We want to save here to avoid spawning back in Saturn Valley and heal up. We really need to make an effort to not let our party die here, as we need everyone for this. And if we lose Jeff or Paula, we really do need to just head back to Fourside and revive them. First we go north to the first third mole. We have Ness do nothing while Paula freezes and Jeff big bottle rockets. I made a slight mistake here though, as Ness should have life-upped Paula, as she's at risk of being killed. Luckily we beat him before that was an issue. Next mole is a straight shot along this path, and we're able to pick up another big bottle rocket along the way. I also didn't heal Paula again like a dummy. We head back to the exit mice and pick one up. We go directly north to the third mole, third. From this point on, Ness heals and Paula freeze betas, as Jeff is out of bottle rockets. Back south, we pick up this picnic lunch, another item we'll need for later. Southeast, we snot away the noose men and ducks after several attempts and take care of mole number 4. On the way to 5 though, Jeff died and I really wanted him to get the experience, so I went back north to this present which has a secret herb which worked and revived him. The thing about this present though is it puts you in a spot where there's a spawn plate to the left with basically a 100% spawn rate, which forced me to end up using my exit mouse early. I healed at the house and went back in. From there, I took care of mole number 5. At this point, we do some major item reconfiguration. We dump most of our equipment and give Paula all of our current key items, except the pencil eraser. This is also important, as Ness carrying lots of key items causes a lot of the game's lag, so simply moving them to another inventory helps curve this. Also, I forgot about the exit mouse, because of course I did, so I took a walk of shame back. We get our picture taken against our will, then rest before heading back to the city. We get the diamond and then free the band once again. Bathroom break. Now into the department store. Oh boy. We take out $9,000 and load up at the arms dealer. We get Ness some super bombs and Jeff and Paula tons of big bottle rockets as well as super bombs. It was during this that my game froze. Just stopped. The game stopped responding. I panicked and paused the timer, not knowing what to do. I waited. The game resumed and I could catch my breath. I resumed the timer and continued on. To make up for this breaking of the rules, I'll be giving myself a 5-minute penalty at the end. Back down the stairs, we make one of our most important safety saves, and Paula gets kidnapped. We trigger this here to avoid enemies spawning on this side. We head up and try to avoid enemies like we did back in Winter's Cave, by keep moving. Floor 3 has a low chance of spawning anything, so we're good there, but Floor 4 is a jerk. This is a dire situation where we do need to use our big bottle rockets and super bombs if needed. This got so bad though, I just opted to reset to my safety save. Once more with feeling. This time I just got into a fight with a Musica and was able to deal with it before things got out of hand. At the boss, super bombs and big bottle rockets. Not bad at all, just a race mostly against that first PSI attack he fires. Glad I had Jeff, but wanna say this fight is totally doable without him. Just have Ness chuck super bombs. We restock and open Moonside. Here we give this guy the protractor and not the ruler, we need that. During this, I actually learned you don't need to check the wall right next to Jackie to do this, and can do so anywhere on the wall. The Moonside itself plays out pretty normally. Well, as normally as Moonside can be. We just make sure to get the Night Pendant to avoid insta-death, and with our items, we make quick work of the evil Manny Manny. After some conversations outside of the cafe, we bus back to the desert. Or, if you're like me, accidentally go all the way back to Threed because you were mashing, causing me to have to take the bus back again. Remember all those items I said were important to get on the way? This is why. We now have all the items we need to get through the monkey caves efficiently. We maneuver our way through, grabbing the bag of Dragonite, new important thing to get, and getting to Talarama. This is why we saved the pencil eraser. We learn teleport and go back to Foreside. Up in the Monotoli building, we use our Skip Sandwich DX here to run safely past the security robots. Shut up. The clumsy robot is a few super bombs, and then we get Paula back. After several cutscenes, we get back to Threed, then Winters. At this point, we give Jeff all the big bottle rockets we bought for her just before she left the party, to use for Shroom. With Teleport, we can now get bunking once again, working the same way as it did in Mother 1, though these enemies are now considered solid objects. We fight Shroom using a mix of fire and big bottle rockets. He actually mushroomized Jeff on the first turn because of course that would happen. But thankfully he didn't decimate his friends, like a true pal. This did cause some panic though, as we now didn't have access to his items. So I switched gears with Ness now firing Rockin' as well, and Paul switching to her remaining super bombs. Incredibly though, on the next turn, Shroom poisoned Jeff, overwriting his mushroomization, allowing him back into the fight. He tried to redo it, but he wasn't that lucky. We enter Rainy Circle, and 3.5 hours in, get our second melody. We head back to the lab, and it's off to Summers. We immediately book it to the phone number man, then go to the Stoic Club, getting Magic Cake to enter Pooh's solo section. Pooh is exceptionally talented in this timeline, completing his training in only 3.5 minutes. We head to the Summers Museum now, paying at the desk since it's faster, and get the hieroglyph copy. Then skip Mr. Spoon's phone call because apparently you don't need to actually pick up the phone to continue that plot thread. I stopped in Foreside to restock on items, then went to Toto and did some more item management, selling unneeded stuff and stocking up on skip sandwiches for something coming up. We then set sail for Scaraba, encountering the Kraken. On turn 2, he shot out fire, which looked really bad, but check this out, Paula actually survived via her gut stat. We buy Paula and Jeff crystal charms to boost their speed and head south for the pyramid. After opening the pyramid, we go directly behind the Sphinx to bonk into the passageway, allowing us to avoid another photoman spot. The pyramid is a beast. We use skip sandwiches to avoid many enemies, but frankly, I'm not good enough to avoid them all. So, we also make much use of status ailments. Most enemies are susceptible to hypnosis and paralysis, which we use whenever we encounter them to give us a much higher chance of running away. We do this all the way to the Guardian General, who we freeze and overwhelm with items. Easy mini-boss. We press the button as quickly as possible and head back up, where we use our invincibility frames to avoid as many enemies as possible to go down the hole, get the Hawkeye, and continue on. You want to make sure to grab this diamond band in this chest for later, which I forgot about and dived into the hole before realizing. It's just to sell later, it's not detrimental. This is a part of the run though where you really feel like a master. Using the spells and sandwiches, it's like seeing the fourth dimension. A fourth D slip, if you will. We grab the Dungeon Man key and teleport upright from here to crash into him. At least, that was the plan. Seriously, I got comically high spawns here, it was insane. Ness got killed here, which wasn't promising. Dashed Dungeon Man and got inside before things got worse. Just kidding, there were these guys. Healed up and trucked on through, being a pretty short dungeon. By the way, on the way out, this happened, which just doesn't seem fair at all. Once he joins the party, the smart thing to do is go around the right side of the map to avoid the enemies, but I forgot this and couldn't understand my own chicken scratch notes, so I got my head handed to me several times over, and a photo to commemorate. I finally talked to the guy, died again, and then re-entered Dungeon Man, got into the submarine, and was off to deep darkness. Now this is where things change. This arms dealer has multi-bottle rockets, otherwise known as Dame Destroyers. We buy several and teleport bonk our way through the swamp. Sound familiar? While not nearly as treacherous as the swampland near Easter, this one is dangerous because it's a lot easier to accidentally execute the teleport, so we've got to pay attention. We get to Master Barf, and with one multi-bottle rocket, finish the battle. We also immediately drop the Casey back. Garbage. We pop in and out of Tenda Village, then it's back to winners. Avoiding the aliens here can be annoying and tough, but luckily they are also quite susceptible to paralysis and hypnosis, so we can escape most battles with them without much damage. We bathroom break our way across Lake Tessie and repeat the goat skip from earlier by doing the same movement, despawning any aliens just south. We use the pencil eraser and do some more despawning, and get back to the lab once more. Into Stonehenge Base, we actually need to stop. By stopping for about 6 seconds here, we despawn an enemy just past the eraser statue, saving some time. This section isn't as bad as it seems. The aliens can be put to sleep to run away, and the Starmen and Starman Supers are pretty easy to green swirl if approached from the front, which can allow you to sort of daisy chain green swirls together in certain areas. We pick up an exit mouse here and continue on to one of the most beautiful sights I've ever seen playing EarthBound. A completely clear last section. We used to pray for times like these. Starman DX is just a multi-bottle rocket, nothing complicated. Now you only need to talk to Apple Kid or Dr. Andonuts to continue the story and get overcoming shyness. We talk to Andonuts since his dialogue is shorter. We exit mouse out and whoa! And back to Onet. Get the book, then teleport to Onet again. Teleport to Onet again. Walk south and get another exit mouse. Then back to Tenda Village. Heal their anxieties, then get another bag of Dragonite from the Tenda leader. Underground, we talk to the Talking Rock to avoid stopping us when we're leaving. But I accidentally talked to him twice, so that didn't do much for me. We go through the Lumine Hall dungeon, and actually don't pick up Pooh's equipment. Too much of a detour. We paralyze and hypnotize our way through, but don't underestimate the enemies here. They can still be dangerous. It put me in a couple of really bad positions. Just keep healing, and before fighting the boss, pick up the Rabbit's Foot, one of the most important items to get of the run, and we equip it to Jeff. His damage output with the multi-bottle rockets is determined by speed, which this item boosts, so giving it to him will help him deal even more damage with them. With that, I multi-bottle rocket and get some easy level ups. At this point, by the way, Ness is level 45, and the rest of the party is mostly around the high 30s. Mini bathroom break, and 5 hours in, we get our third melody. Whew! Heading down into the Lost Underworld, we immediately get out of there. It's boss rush time. 5 hours and 3 melodies? We've been slacking. Time to fix that. We go to Foresight and do the Venus autograph mission, allowing us into the sewers. Snot and suffer our way to the Plague Rat, one multi-bottle rocket away from Melody 4. Get the Carrot Key, and now it's time for the Pink Cloud. We exit mouse out, and right outside the museum, teleport Alpha past a Photoman location, and go to Dalam, not realizing I forgot to get an exit mouse. We stomp that dungeon and have a nice fair fight with Thunder and Storm to get our 5th melody. 2 melodies, 15 minutes. I now realize my lack of Exomouse and head to Onett to fill the mouse-shaped hole in my heart for next time. I stopped in Deep Darkness for a multi-bottle rocket restock only to realize I was broke and found myself back in Onett. After the refill, we return to the Lost Underworld. We teleport Bonk our way around the dinosaurs and actually also skip the Tenda tribe. I had no idea you could just skip them. I just never really thought to do that. We keep bonking all the way to the fire spring and make a safety save outside. Into the volcano, we wait under this rope for the same reason we did back at Stonehenge, to despawn an enemy. And use the doors to despawn as many more as we can. These little possessor guys are really annoying, as they can haunt a party member and do chip damage, and it carries between battles. These little lava monsters can actually get rid of them, but my run here got so bad I just reset outside the dungeon. I had to do this a few times. By the time I got to the end, it had cost me around 10 minutes. With that though, we're finally at Carbon Dog. This fight uses a similar strategy to the third moles from earlier. He has a power shield, meaning he will deflect any physical damage he takes, so multi-bottle rockets aren't as scot-free here as they usually are. So we heal Jeff every turn with Ness and have him use the rockets. This keeps him safe while maximizing our damage output. Doing this twice, we defeat him and attain the 6th melody. Exit mouse and get another. We then teleport a block away to Tucson and now have to walk all the way back to Happy Happy Village to fight Mondo Mole. Nope, there's no other way to get there. This is the only way. There is a bridge now though, which I totally walked past. Back in the village, we scare everyone inside and bash Mondo Mole into dust. Not even worth a bottle rocket. That's 7 melodies. We exit mouse one last time, then do a pretty cool teleport to Saturn Valley. Check this out. Now it's finally time for Trillionage Sprout, and try to avoid whatever. It's funny how even this late game, the Milky Well is still annoying. I had to leave and heal even, but once past that first room, the rest is easy. And with that, we reach the last Sanctuary Guardian. This one actually does warrant a multi-bottle rocket, which I accidentally used on this poor soul. One more though, and he's good as dead. Before getting the 8th melody, we need to do some item shuffling. We make sure Ness has the Franklin badge, the ring pendant, and give him Jeff's rabbit's foot. Beyond equipment, we also give him the 2 bags of Dragonite as well. That done, we get the final melody at Milky Well. Yeah, how often do you see this happen? And enter Magicant. We equip the Sea Pendant and do a safety save in the house near the start. Sorry flying men, we're flying solo. A little further, we make sure to grab this 3rd bag of Dragonite and continue on to Magicant's outskirts. This is just a game of patience. Snot and try to run, which at this point Ness is able to do successfully much of the time. The loaded dice are the most annoying since they can call enemies in, so we just put them to sleep to escape. I definitely feel like it should have been easier though. We get Ness the Magicant bat as well and keep going. We make it all the way to the Sea of Eden and now have to deal with some Krakens. I put on the rabbit's foot for some reason and attempted to sidestep them, but failed miserably. I got stuck in a position here where I wasn't really doing much damage and didn't really want to use my super bombs on them. So I reset, bringing me all the way back to the beginning of Magicant. Here was my mistake. I equipped the Sea Pendant first, then the Rabbit's Foot later. I had this backwards. We equipped the Rabbit's Foot first, allowing us to escape battles easier, get the needed items, and once we're in the Sea of Eden, then equip the Sea Pendant, as it protects against the Kraken's fire attacks. Redoing this area though, with the success of the Rabbit's Foot, only took about 5 minutes. In the Sea of Eden, we attempt to get the Kraken stuck on walls, then get far enough away from them so they don't pursue Ness anymore. I was able to do this twice, but ended up getting caught the 3rd time. With the Sea Pendant and Magicant bat though, I was able to beat it pretty quickly. We then arrive at Ness's Nightmare. We start by using all our bags of Dragonite and race against the scrolling HP meter. We heal, then toss super bombs at it until it shatters. This is followed by a nice boost for Ness, who will now be an unstoppable force for us, bringing him to level 57. Just over 6 hours in, it's the end game. We teleport Bonk through Dark Onett. Yeah, that's what I'm calling it. I thought it was cool. It's still not easy though. Almost died here a few times, but we only need 1 party member alive to get the meteorite piece, and teleported back to Saturn Valley. I made a final trip to Foreside for some more super bombs. They only need a couple more multi-bottle rockets, so I skipped out on them. In the Cave of the Present, we pick up this Horn of Life from the ruined Phase Distorter, then finally, Andonuts takes us back to the past. The Cave of the Past is the same game as Magicant. We flee as many battles as we can. At this point, Ness has so much PSI, we can afford almost any healing we could possibly need. The real annoying thing here are the Starmen, who constantly use Starstorm, necessitating a lot of it. I ended up letting myself die, it got so brutal. After a long journey, we finally arrive at Gygus' lair. We heal, then inside do our final equipment and item prep. We give Jeff the Rabbit's Foot to boost his bottle rocket damage, Paula the Franklin badge to cover her from Gygas's lightning attacks, as well as the Sea Pendant, which will also protect her from the effects of Flash, which Gygas can also use. Ness gets the Night Pendant for the same reason, and Pooh gets Super Bombs and the Horn of Life from before. Final boss time. We open with Ness casting Paralysis on Porky, Paula setting up a shield, Jeff firing a multi-bottle rocket at Porky, and Pooh using a Horn of Life on Paula in case. That shield is important. I didn't end up needing the Horn of Life, but better safe than sorry. We keep on with another multi-bottle rocket and freeze Gamma, getting us to Phase 2. From here, we keep launching items and freezing, and Pooh and Ness do some occasional life-ups. This is the last point items matter, so we're fully unloading them now. Once Porky comes back and initiates Phase 3, we're pretty much done. Defend, pray, defend, defend. We pray the nightmare away, along with some healing from Ness, and we wrap things up. I've seen some people call time here when the last prayer is executed, but remember, we go until that final screen, so we still have some to go. We watch our big victory cutscene, the war against Gygas ends, and the ending starts. Sorry Paula, no time to take you home. Teleporting back to Onett, yes, you can just keep her with you, letting her be part of the ending. With that, credits roll on Mother 2, and we get to appreciate all the photos we wish we didn't take. After the credits, we get a short epilogue, get through Picky's text, and the final screen comes up. And that's time. With the additional 5-minute penalty, that brings EarthBound to 7 hours, 11 minutes, and 23 seconds, meaning total we're running at just about 11 hours. Let's move on to the final act. Finally, Mother 3. Let's name our characters one last time. The nice thing about Mother 3 is it starts with a nice long bathroom break. We start the prologue and rush for the mole cricket fight. By holding L, the game automatically sets you up to attack once you press A, so we do this and mash to stomp him in record time. Now we get several cutscenes and begin Chapter 1. Gotta make sure to talk to Mapson or else we'll be stopped, so we do that, put the player name in, and enter the forest. Something I never knew until doing this is that you can skip this Mr. Batty, just lure him out and run around him. I totally thought this was a required fight. We grab this bracelet, but hold off equipping it for the time being. No joke, one of the hardest things for me in this run is this section with the fire. You should ideally avoid it, but I just can't, I don't have the precision. Just before the fight with the fireflies, we equip both the lumber and the bracelet. In battle, we swing twice and that does it. Keeping north, we save here because I am going to do a pro gamer move and kill myself. The route tells me healing with a nut bread before the flying mouse should be all good, but when I practiced this chapter a couple times, I never had enough health to beat him and would end up dying anyway, so I just let him beat me and respawned outside, because otherwise you'll go all the way back to the hot spring by Isaac's. Going in, we buff then mash. We rescue fuel, then purposely run through the fire this time. We have some more cutscenes, then take another bathroom break. We let Boney join the party and head back into the woods. On the way north, we grab a couple of items and watch some more cutscenes. This is going to be a trend. And Duster builds a ladder. I moved the cursor randomly, by the way, and I think it's hilarious Duster, of all people, gets the moniker of L. He joins the party, and we take on the first mini-boss, the reconstructed caribou. Really simple fight. Have Flint buff on turn 1, wall staple, and attack. Most of this game is going to be about tight strategy with bosses. Also, check out how Boney hangs on. What a legend. Following the fight, we give Boney everything. All of Duster and Flint's equipment besides his weapon go to Boney. And we put him in the little hat too, because that's adorable.
Hi, baby.
After a short cutscene, we have a long cutscene. Sorry, Flint, no time to mourn. After breaking out of jail, we book it to Thomas's Bazaar, where I picked up a flea charm since it was there and a running bomb. At this point, we actually need to stop and drop everything to get 5 thunder bombs. We do this by getting the one behind Wes's house, then run to the crossroads, and coming back when it respawns. Wes himself will also give you one. This takes a couple of minutes, but it's imperative to the mission. Once we do that, we attend the funeral and head to Alex. We head towards the mountains with lots of dialogue scenes, then into the mountain cave. We follow Alex's directions, but branch off for a second for another running bomb. Up into this cave, we go up the ladder for the beef jerky, but come back down to avoid another cutscene. Now, usually you'd run across this bridge to get another bomb, but since I got one from Thomas's shop, I didn't need it, so I kept north, and had a pretty good run of it too. I decided to safety save here, as we'll need to use a lot of bombs soon, and if I die, I won't get those back. Just a little further, we reach the plateau and the Mecha Drago. We open by raising our defense, pierce her with the Drago Fang, and then unload all of our thunder bombs, hoping for paralysis. I didn't get it, but it's not a make or break thing. It's important to keep Flint's HP up, as he'll need 34 HP to survive the final attack. An alternate way of doing this fight is to raise Flint's offense, then land 3 power smashes, but it's way too risky in my opinion, so I went for this safer, though slower method. After the 5 Thunder Bombs, we use the remaining running bombs and finish Chapter 1, tied up with a nice little bathroom break, in a little under an hour. Chapter 2 begins and we grab all of Duster's thief tools and the secret one behind the house, a Thunder Bomb. After a couple of conversations, we enter the graveyard where we use that Thunder Bomb to defeat the zombies quickly, then finish with regular attacks. Notice how despite giving Boney all of his belongings, Duster gets them all back at the start of the chapter. We see the drawbridge is closed and head underground. Here we grab these healing items and this running bomb. On the other side, we scale the castle and enter. Once in the lobby, it's time for some grinding. Yes, even Mother 3 isn't safe from it. We fight these ghosts a few times to get him to the next level, 10 and a Rotten Eclair. We heal and buy the rope snake. Upstairs, we grab the chick bandana, and luckily I was able to run from the abstract art. In the dining area, we talk to this ghost and get some more Rotten Eclairs. And something else I learned is after the first one, if you say no to him, he'll keep giving you them anyway. I always thought you had to leave the room and re-enter it. Once we max out, we scale our way to the 3rd floor where we trade them for as much beef jerky as we can carry. Down these stairs is an Aquarius bracelet, and across the gap in this room we get the durable shoes. We equip all these things now. After a short cutscene, we safety save, then finally get to Mr. Passion. Remember how I talked about needing serious boss strategy for this run? Let's go. We start with a smoke bomb, lowering his accuracy, then move into 3 scary masks, killing his offense, and the last stage of the setup is to tickle stick him thrice as well, destroying his defense. After 7 turns, we turn a tough early game fight into a joke. From here, we spam attacks and deafen his music. I thought that sounded cool. After a quick heal, we grab the treasure and run back to Wes. On the way, stopping at Thomas's. There wasn't anything I wanted, but I grabbed this nut anyway to get the game to replace it after this cutscene with Wes. He joins the party, and back at Thomas's I got a flea charm to show up. I also decided to grab a couple of Thunder Bombs as well. Back at the castle, we take on the Clayman. Like before, smoke bomb, scary masks, and tickle stick. Duster is a master of debuffs, and we'll be using them a lot. The nice thing about this fight is while debuffing, Wes will still attack occasionally, so we're still dealing damage. Easy. Rushing back upstairs into cutscene, we meet Kumatora, who joins the party. We continue the climb, but we're not stopping to train. Though Kumatora's thunder is incredibly helpful for this upcoming fight, we don't have time to spare. So we grab every item we can on the way up, even the ones in this room with the brooms. Unfortunately, I got caught on my way out after getting both presents and got sent back a couple of floors. We make a safety save here and get into the final room. Before heading up, we give Kumatora some Thunder Bombs and beef jerky in case something happens to Duster. We then equip Duster with the flea charm. Kumatora is only level 10 by the way. After a quick fall, it's time for the boss, the Oh-So Snake. We start off by trying to get a smoke bomb off, which luckily I did, as this can take several turns to do. We have Kumatora use a Thunder Bomb. From here, we have Duster use some bombs, and Kumatora, without Thunder, use Freeze. I even froze him, which just felt unfair, honestly. It's important to keep their HP above 54, as this is what's dealt when the snake goes underwater. After that though, it's back to the assault. This is the only time in the run it's required to keep a specific party member alive, and that is Kumatora. She needs to survive this fight to level up now. We'll come back to why later. Duster ran out of bombs and fell back on regular attacks, but with a few more freezes, Kumatora finished him off. After washing on shore, I grabbed another Thunder Bomb for safekeeping and started the ending cutscene. I know it probably seems like we're just tearing through this game so far, but trust me, the run hasn't even started yet. Into Chapter 3, we start with a long cutscene, but I did have to actually pay attention here to press the right buttons for Fasad's commands. Once we get control, we can't do the usual dung trade deals. We're grabbing these items and we're heading out into the desert at level 1. To the south, we get some more beef jerky and then go get the bug spray, which we then use on this great antlion to rescue this save frog to safety save at, gaining Salsa a couple of level ups in the process. To the west, we get another bomb and then some armor to the north. It's time for the Cactus Wolf. This can be totally random, so you gotta hope Fasad cooperates. We start with Salsa using his bombs, then defending and healing. Fasad, however, wouldn't attack, and I died. First reset of the game. Second time around though, Fasad helped out and we got to level 6. We monkey around inside and get to the slimes. We use the running bomb that was next to them and unload it. Fasad really needs to help with this battle as they can end up splitting up and spawning more, which we're not equipped to deal with. We also used the ancient banana from earlier in the tunnel to take care of the second one. Thankfully, Fasad was a team player and killed the last one. We arrive in Tazmily and watch a few cutscenes. After some interactive dialogue, we deliver the happy boxes to Isaac, Biff, and Abbott in that order. I also decided to grab a couple of Thunder Bombs because why not? We go to the castle and after the cutscene try to leave to immediately trigger the prompt to go to the basement. We dance our way downstairs to where we get some more items and equipment, then make our way back to town for the night. We join up with Kumatora and flee from the Big Mask army. And by looking at Kumatora's abilities, can see she already has PK Thunder. Because she reached the level she'd learn it, and Chapter 2 ended, the game assumes she already knows it, allowing us to skip the fever stage and learning it. Otherwise, we'd have to waste time grinding and then walking around. With that, we start the pork tank battle. Here, Salsa's job is to use bombs and heal, while Kumatora does the heavy lifting with Thunder. He didn't last long. Not gonna lie, I got pretty gutsy after Salsa died and was a bit risky. The tank made Kumatora cry, so I had to use my magic tart, and things got pretty dire. Just in time though, we broke the thing and were able to finish it off in one piece. Literally. Because Salsa's dead. We watch the ending cutscene and the camera shifts to Lucas. With that, completing Chapter 3. 3 years pass, but we don't have time for that, so it's a time skip. Starting off this chapter, we get dressed. Heading outside, we ignore Boney. If you approach him, he'll join the party at level 8. But if he has to chase after you, he joins at level 10. Not sure why, but we'll take it. After some cutscenes at the train platform, town square, and talking to Wes, it's time to hit the road. Mr. T warns us about train safety, and we run along the tracks anyway. We attempt to dodge as many enemies as we can and arrive at Ionia to learn PK Love. The meeting is short-lived though as we continue down the tracks. On the way, we grab this bomb past the bridge, then stay off the tracks on the next screen to prevent the train cutscene from playing. After a long run, we arrive at the Clayman factory, where we work for a while to get a ropeway pass. Before we head up though, we're going to take a detour to the Chimera lab early. It's time for some more grinding. We fight this Australophant over and over to get Boney to level 13, so he can survive an upcoming battle. Between fights, we get hot spring eggs. By taking a fresh egg, then using the hot spring with it, turning it into an item that restores 100 HP. It's not bad though, only takes a few minutes and it's up to Club Tittyboo. At the plateau, we withdraw all of our money to use inside. This awesome dog-like dude joins us and we go inside. At this shop, we buy 4 dog biscuits but cannot use them. We need these for later. In the concert room, DCMC performs an encore, giving us a crucial bathroom break. On the way out, we talk to this waitress for a DCMC pamphlet. We then talk to Kumatora and head down to the secret passage. Down here, we first go south to grab these items, the Meiju and the saltwater gun, then make our way north to get to Kumatora's room. We get yet another bathroom break, this time literally, and then it's into the attic. We talk to this mouse and sell those items from the secret passage and the pamphlet we just got, as well as Boney's items. Yes, he still has all those items we gave him back in Chapter 1, and now we can sell them for a bunch of extra DP, except for the cowboy hat, of course. We then buy Boney a pencil rocket, then fill up both their inventories with as many bread rolls as they can carry. We traverse the attic dungeon, and I took a detour into the mice's room to heal and safety save. From here, it's a quick wraparound to the Jealous Base. Yep, that's right, Jealous Base at level 13. Let's do this. We open with a pencil rocket and PK Love. With Boney level 13, he'll almost certainly survive their opening attack as well. From here, it's a mix of PK Love and healing. He put Boney to sleep like a jerk and almost put him to sleep, but luckily Lucas prevented that. I ended up running out of PK Loves to use and didn't really know what to do, so I just started wailing on him hoping he'd die. Thankfully, that worked. We go down into Lucky's room, which, by the way, the game decided to name him Gorgeous for some reason. Usually this happens only if you name Duster Lucky. It took me a minute to realize it, but I'm now pretty sure this happens if you name him anything starting with an L, which I think makes sense. Also, you already know I optimized for Stone Sheet Clippers. Duster joins the party, and the ending unfolds, though not quite a bathroom break. Chapter 5 starts, and we are sadly skipping the mystical shoes and Master Passion. We start by dashing for the holes and going immediately down into this one by this enemy. A lot of the opening to the chapter is just running from place to place, because from there, we're running up to talking to these pig masks. Make sure to grab this secret herb from this pig mask though, strictly in a friend sense. This leads us to the first Pork Trooper fight, which is exactly the same strategy as our regular runs. DCMC merch and strong attacks. Though you could also dedicate Duster to debuffs in between. Piece of cake fight. Right after this is where I would consider this chapter to really start though. We take his pork bean north to this area where we grab these gloves to sell later and talk to Mama Mouse. This starts the side quest to find the 7 mice children, which gives us a great item. We start by going north where we charge the pork bean so it doesn't break down later. Before continuing though, we talk to the first mouse, then this dog. This is who we saved the doggy biscuits for. You can trade each one for a pencil rocket from him, which we will be using. Continuing east, we talk to the second of the mouse children, and actually don't even need to get out of the pork bean to do so. From there, we follow the road to the truck stop area, where we get a better collar for Boney, which we give to him, and the pencil rockets from before to Kumatora. We do a safety save, and get both of the next mice just east in this cave and with Leo. There are still 3 mice to get, but we'll be doing that later. Continuing on, we reach the junkyard, where we awaken the forlorn junkie, and I forgot to heal. That's not good. Reset. Luckily, I just saved, so I get the 2 mice children again, and we get it going for real. We have Lucas PK Love while Kumatora and Duster start by handling debuffs. Boney attacks. For some reason, I just could not get Duster's smoke bomb to land though, which was a real pain. I kept at it, but he just kept wearing me down, and again, that smoke bomb would just not work. He eventually killed Lucas, and I kept going for a little bit, but I saw that as a sign to reset again once Kumatora fell too. Back to the truck stop and getting the mice again. Attempt number 3. I forgot to heal again. Attempt number 4. This time I finally got the smoke bomb to work, and that was a great signal to me that this was the one. I finished debuffing and got everyone attacking at last. He put up a fight, but in the end, Boney finished him. Duster gets his memory back, and we are brought to Thunder Tower. We remember to heal this time and run through the tower to the Pork Trooper rematch. Works exactly the same as the last one, and this time around he attacked even less. The party flees to the upper part of the tower. Slowly though, as this is when Kumatora decided to start feeling feverish, and get to the playroom where we heal again. We grab the presents, withdraw our DP, and go over to the vending machine. We sell all the miscellaneous items we've collected and buy rubber capes for the humans, and I accidentally sold Kumatora's magic pendant. We needed that. So I reset, and it sent me back to before the second Pork Trooper fight. Sorry, I made fun of you. I fight him again, watch the cutscene again, feel feverish again, and climb the tower again, which accrued an additional 5-ish minutes. Once the right armor is bought and not sold, we make the final scale up the tower, picking up PK Flash along the way, and fight Mr. Genitor. I thought his name was Mr. Generator for so long. I got the smoke bomb off on him turn 1, which helped a lot. Lucas was on PK Love, Kumatora on Freeze, Duster on debuffs, and Boney played healer. Once his rest phase started, we switched up to physical attacks, and had Kumatora use Paralysis, which I would have never guessed even affected him. This gives us a lot more time to wail on him. Once he's paralyzed, he's a punching bag, and we did a ton of damage before he came back. From here, we go back to before, offensive PSI, Love, and Freeze. Unfortunately, at this point though, Duster and Boney can't do much since they'll take damage from hitting him, so they're just there for moral support. We end off the chapter with Facade taking a big fall, then us. While we go through chapter 6 here, let's catch up. We're about 4 hours in, and it still probably seems like we'll be done in no time, and this won't even be close. Well, it's time to finally fill you in on what's to come from here on. We still have chapters 7 and 8, which may not sound like a whole ton, but believe it or not, this is where the run really starts. The 2 final chapters coming up make up more than 50% of the run, and even more with setbacks we'll be seeing. Trust me, you won't see what's coming. If it seemed like things were getting close to ending, strap in, because now we're getting serious. Chapter 7 kicks off with a lot of running around. We start by talking to, then escorting Ionia to Aeolia's shell. We take a boat ride there, then get a cutscene where Aeolia opens up the path to the castle courtyard, then disappears, leaving behind her memento. We're going to have to be careful with this. These are items that grant 1 instant revival each to the party member holding it, and we're going to need all of them. We'll store with the item guy at the earliest opportunity, but for now, we'll need to hold it as we go through the underground. Luckily, the enemies here are not too bad, and we can pick up a magic tart as well. On the other side, we reach the courtyard where we get a bathroom break while Ionia explains the dragon lore. After some more dialogue and getting the courage badge, we're set free. This is where the game really opens up, so our approach really matters here. First stop, the Chimera Lab. We take the train to save some time, but conservatively with the cheaper tickets. On the way, I dropped off Aelia's memento for safekeeping. We then take a detour to the right to quickly open up the mole cricket hole to skip a fight later. At the Chimera Lab, we can pretty easily speed through this section, just have to make sure to talk to Dr. Andonets at some point. We then purposely let ourselves die to the almost Mecha Lion, which is actually an optional fight to win, probably because there's just 0 warning for it. The ultimate Chimera is not too bad either. Though it's intimidating, like the presence in EarthBound, it only moves in a straight line at a time, so you can— okay, I died. Second try, he's not there, so we head into the freezer and get a bomb. Downstairs, we grab some pork stew and activate the next salsa checkpoint. This allows us to face off against the ultimate Chimera and finish the section. We resume by heading right back inside. We withdraw our money and talk to this scientist, who is a salesman, sell everything Salsa owns, and buy 2 enemy bufferizers, which we'll give to Boney. We dance our way to the next area and leave to get a chimera to empty the pond. After all that, Lucas finally pulls his first needle. Doria also immediately follows this by giving him her memento, so thank goodness I had an open space in his inventory. Kumatora rejoins the party, and we press on. We head back to the mole cricket hole now, and this is where an enemy known as Squeaks, who's actually Miss Mouse's husband, would usually fight you if you hadn't talked to the mole cricket yet. Having done this earlier, he doesn't show up. We beat the mole cricket again and then head through the maze. Now, this probably looks really overwhelming, but there's a simple rule that makes it so I don't even need a map to get through it. Simply take every turn you come to. As long as you do this, you will make it to the end, leading us to Snowcap Mountain. We do a little running and make our way to this little hub area, and hand off our new memento to the item guy as well. This is also where the mole cricket shop opens, where we stock Boney up with sincerity dumplings, cheap high caliber healing items, which we purchased by selling our bomb from earlier. Heal up, then do a safety save, the safest one yet. We talk to Lydia, which leads into the steel Mecharilla fight. Now, this is a tough fight even in a regular playthrough, but in both there are 2 simple rules to make him much easier. 1, if you use Thunder on him more than twice, he'll go berserk, so use Freeze after that. 2, land PK Flash on him to make him cry. These 2 things make this fight much more manageable. After getting Flash off, we have Lucas raise him and Boney's offense 3 stages each. This is the point where he becomes the buffer. Meanwhile, Kumatora debuffs and heals as needed. It's quite a bit of setup, but it all adds up to a much more consistent boss battle, and we wrap it up with basic attacks. Lydia gives us the 3rd memento, and we fly down Snowcap Mountain with a mini bathroom break. Back in Tazmily, we drop off the memento and have optimal time to be slowed down by more fevers. We're going to take a mini break from the plot to handle some side business. We're going into the Sunshine Forest to grind. In this area, there's an enemy known as the Black Beanling that spawns rarely. 1 Black Beanling yields over 16,000 experience points. We're going to fight 2. After a lot of running, we find our first. We have Lucas PK Love, Kumatora Freeze, and Boney use one of the enemy bufferizers from earlier. This item will double the HP an enemy has, but also doubles the experience they drop, bringing a single fight with one up to over 32,000 experience. With our magic, we can beat him in 1 turn. So we take some time to do this twice, taking us all from level 27 all the way up to level 36. With that done, we hit the railroad tracks and go up to the tunnel, picking up some more items to sell as well. We take the Saturn coffee table and are off. This tunnel takes us back to the highway, where we'll now be completing the mouse quest. We get the first of the remaining ones right near the entrance, and grab this Gemini bracelet for Lucas too. Next one is where we fought the Pork Trooper the first time, and last but not least is right outside the Clayman factory. We return to the Mama Mouse and get the Shield Snatcher for Boney, allowing us to remove enemy shields at will. After this, we take the long way around, which is still faster than traveling by foot, and head to Saturn Valley. We flee from some more enemy battles and arrive on the scene. First, we grab the black collar for Boney, and also equip Lucas's bracelet. Inside, we encounter 2 Pig Majors and a Fright Bot. We unload PSI on them and have Boney attack. Once the officers are gone, we use Thunder to finish off the Fright Bot. With that, Duster rejoins the party. The gang's back together. The game closed. I don't know if I pressed a key or it just crashed, but the game closed. I panicked, so I paused the timer, not sure what to do. I booted up my last save, and it brought me all the way back to Snowcap. Before finishing the mice side quest, before the 10 minutes spent hunting Black Beanlings, and before the Steel Mecharilla. I couldn't figure out what I should do next. So, I set my timer to the last minute I reached and continued on. It took me about 2 minutes to come to this conclusion, and my timer wasn't running. So, for that, I'm giving myself a 10-minute penalty. 5 for each minute to be added on to the end. But there's no time to waste, so I got right back on the saddle. I refought the boss, grinded again, finished the side quest again, and got back to Saturn Valley. Duster rejoined the party, and we were back. With that, we do some shopping and head to the volcano. We do some business with the mole cricket and buy more sincerity dumplings. I grabbed this pencil rocket even though the route didn't call for it and gave it to Boney, so he and Kumatora could just one-cycle these pig mask captains. We grab a couple of items on the way, but otherwise it's a straight shot to the next needle. Here we fight New Facade. We start with our usual, offense up, offense down, smoke bomb. Facade is very weak to the smoke bomb, so that's a great help. We do some further debuffing and make sure Boney removes his shield after a few turns. Once all that's done, it's all healing and attacking. The real annoying part is all the status ailments he can cast, but he was also pretty stupid about which ones to cast on who, so I won't complain too much. Lucas pulls his second needle, gets the fourth memento, and we rest up as we take to Air Saturn back to the beach. Time for a swim. First order of business is getting the Virgo bracelet from Kumatora, then the awesome crown for Lucas. By the way, did you know you can just run from fish row, man? How did I never know this? We backtrack to the earlier oxygen machines and continue on. I also drowned. The main thing about this segment is picking up the PSI restoring items and ignoring the distractions. It's a long road, but it's not difficult. At the end, we reach Master Eddie. Even he's not bad though. It's a race to attack as much as possible to trigger his final whirlpool before he kills everyone. And who survives is even less important since there's no experience to be gained from it. We then arrive on Tane Tane Island and go for a pleasant nightmare. What a lot of people don't know about this is Flint's fight at the beginning is totally optional. You can run right past him. Many are, it's just a matter of not letting them talk to you. Class can also be ran away from, so it just takes some patience. After that, we scale the mountain and attempt to run from probably the most annoying cohort of enemies in the game, who all do everything they can to massively inconvenience you before you can run, especially the Gusts who occupy everywhere up here. We have to push through them though to get this weapon for Lucas, so just rip the band-aid off and make a break for the save frog. We've got to heal ourselves up this time, which sucks since we're going to need all the magic we can get for this next boss, because it's time for the barrier trio. The main thing is to keep their defenses down. They'll constantly raise it, so we have to keep it at least net -2. The goal here is to raise Lucas's attack as much as possible while Kumatora and Duster keep their defense down as much as possible. Boney's also there. From there, we have Lucas attack as much as possible. They have a variety of spells, the worst of them being fire, which hits everyone hard. I would consider this easily one of the toughest fights of the run. I lost Lucas and Boney, almost 5 minutes into the fight, and had to reset. My trouble was keeping up with the debuffs. Once Lucas's offense is maxed out, we unleash PK Love. With 2, I was able to do over 1,000 damage, but they hit back just as hard and I lost Boney. I revived him, but for every turn going offensive, you need to spend 2 or 3 recovering, making for a long, grueling battle. Duster got hit hard with freeze and fell, then Boney again to fire. Kumatora was able to save Lucas though. I revived Duster again. It was becoming a game of survivalist musical chairs. They used fire again, taking both Kumatora and Duster down, leaving only Lucas just as they dropped their pose, meaning I'd reach the end, but I'd have to survive one last attack. PK Starstorm. I had no healing items, so I used a magic tart to restore some PSI. They concentrated, and I had Lucas use life up on himself just in time for them to fire. With that, all I had to do was defend a couple more turns, and the battle was won. It was all for naught though, as the needle is stolen by the masked man. Mixolydia gives us another memento, which we deposit and make a long, painful, annoying trek back through the forest. We get to Ocho, but elect to drown ourselves instead to save time. Back on the beach, it's time to wrap up this chapter. We make a dash for the mountains, stopping only to pick up Pickles with Boney, which yes, we optimized for. Into the cave, this dungeon, if you can even call it that, is way simpler than I remembered, since I always go left for the goodies. It's only these 2 rooms for the main route. On the other side, we grab a magic tart and withdraw our DP again. After resting with Ionia, we get the Franklin badge and shop with the Mole Cricket. We sell a few things and buy everyone a pencil rocket. Finally, we fill Boney and Duster's inventories with as much grilled chickens as we can. Safety save. Starting this final stretch, we have several pig masks to fight. Everyone simply fires a pencil rocket and that takes care of them. It's kind of beautiful, really. Also, just realizing how far behind Duster is in levels, wow. Now it's time for the face-off with the masked man. As usual, it's buffs and debuffs with Duster and Boney on healing. A difficult element of this fight is the masked man gets 2 turns, making some of his actions tough to counter. He's susceptible to the smoke bomb, but man was my luck running out. On turn 5, he fires Love Gamma, and of course it's the turn smoke bomb finally decides to work. Kumatora and Duster were able to save and heal Lucas, but they're out for good. I'm out of revival items. So I wait for my HP to scroll up and attack as much as possible before having to heal with life up, as it's my only option left. I hope for electric attacks to reflect, and let every heal take me to its max before letting an attack from him land. And once that HP is scrolling, I mash for my life to hit as many times as I can before I absolutely must heal again. And this allows for Lucas to tank a lot of the PK loves since his HP is scrolling down anyway, letting me get away with way more than I should be able to here. He ends up wasting a lot of turns, letting me get back up to full health. I'm not kidding. This went on for like 5 minutes, and when I was at my rope's end, Klaus busted out his signature move. insane. The Pigmask army retreats and we head inside. Kumatora learns Starstorm, which is going to be important soon, and Lucas pulls the 6th needle, Ionia giving him another memento, drawing a close to Chapter 7. We're in the final stretch now. Chapter 8 begins with a nice lengthy bathroom break, as inside the limousine you have to wait 45 seconds before arriving at Newport. Another new thing I learned, I always assumed it was tied to the activities you did in here. After a really long cutscene, we go to the theater where Boney leaves the party. We go to the arcade and into the sewers. This is the point where I'm going to start fighting enemies. Straight up, there is no way I should have survived that last boss, so I'm not chancing it in some even tougher fights coming up. I didn't flat out grind, but I gained a couple levels off of the roaches and putrid moldy men. Boney rejoins the party, and we listen to Leader's story. 3 minutes of pressing A. We save, then buy some more items from this mole cricket. On the way out, it's another boss battle. The pattern is simple. Love, Starstorm, love, Starstorm. Duster heals. Boney uses a super bomb, and then does whatever's needed. Do this like 5 or so times, and he's taken care of. At last, we enter the Empire Porky building. Inside, we make our final preparations. We use the rest of our money to buy healing items and take out all 6 mementos. But first, let's enjoy a bathroom break. In the Hippo lab, we pick up the super bomb and take care of the forced encounter with the Hippo launcher with a Love and Starstorm. Up a couple more floors and into the bathroom dungeon. Main thing here is to avoid the Chimera and get the awesome ring for Lucas for a big stats boost. On Locria's floor, we get the final memento and a few more healing items. We battle our way through the construction floor and make our way to the Mecha floor, where we get another super bomb. Great timing for that fever, by the way, Kumatora. Next are the minigames with Robo Porky, and it's on to the first of many main events, the NK Cyborg. Like with Miracle Facade, we use Love and Starstorm and have the others on healing. We make sure to use a PSI restoring item on each of them, as this is all about surviving long enough to do this a few more times. No, Kumatora, no! We revive her and take a breather to let her HP scroll back up. He was also really obsessed with hitting Lucas with thunder. Next, Boney died and we kept pushing with the Starstorms, with Lucas out of magic. I decided to bring back Boney just in time for a screen nuke, but was able to get off one last Starstorm before it was in vain. After all that, we take a nice ferry ride and remember all we've been through up to this point. On the other side, let's finish this. We heal up and storm Porky's base, then remember I organized my items wrong and reset. For this upcoming battle, we're giving Duster and Boney each super bombs and a memento, and 2 mementos to Kumatora. Lucas has the remaining ones. Now for real, we start the fight with Porky's with Love, Starstorm, and a super bomb from Boney, and Duster defends. This takes care of the first 3 Porkybots, though those shields do the same to us. We let the mementos take care of that and go for Love and Starstorm again, this time with Duster using his super bomb. The Porkybot at this point brings in random enemies. We have Boney steal his shield and keep unloading Love and Starstorms. This goes on for a little longer and DCMC handles the rest. We regroup, then are brought down for a final race to the last needle. And by race, I mean slow-paced walk, as now is when Kumatora decided to feel feverish. And right when I thought that was over, Lucas's turn. Thanks guys, could always count on you. After a heal, we book it to the confrontation with Porky, the final stand with him. This fight has 2 modes, attack and heal. We attack with Love and Starstorm one turn, making sure Boney steals his PSI counter shield, and take the next turn to defend and heal. Rinse and repeat, don't get fancy. I, however, am not fancy. I am dumb. and forgot to steal it once and almost got myself killed here. We use some PSI restoring items to keep their magic up and take care of Porky once and for all. With him out of the way, there's one final boss to take on. We save and heal for the last time and reach the 7th needle. The final boss. The Masked Man is simply a trial of patience. We defend and heal and let the game do the rest. With Klaus at last at peace, we pull the final needle and the ending begins. It's not over yet though. We run through the ending, this time the literal we, not the party, and say our final goodbyes. And with that, one last credits roll. The timer continues though. This has been a real journey, and I have to give major thanks to Sharpless for all his help with figuring this out, and Giuna for her wonderful beginner's guide for EarthBound speedrunning, and Arithium for their incredible Mother 3 guide. I couldn't have done this without any of them. And by the way, as the cast finishes up here, I thought it was gonna be all cute naming Lucas and Klaus 2 and 4, so in the credits they'd be 24, just for me to realize they stand on opposite sides. Perfect. And with the cast ending, it's on to the real credits. Yeah, don't worry, I'm anxious about the time too. If I had to say what were the most challenging parts of each run, for Mother 1 it was definitely the swamplands to mount a toy. That was very difficult. For EarthBound, I'd say it's a lot of stuff around Foreside with the mole caves and then going into the pyramid shortly after and everything, though the most painful part was definitely Dungeon Man. And for Mother 3, I'm not even joking, it was probably Chapter 6, knowing I wasn't even halfway through the run yet, and just sort of mentally thinking about, oh, this next chapter is going to be like 3 hours long, isn't it? In combination with the game shutting off in the middle of it, yeah, that was pretty emotionally taxing. And with that, the credits come to a final close. Let's see our final time and finally answer the question, can you beat the Mother series in one day? My time for Mother 3 was 8 hours, 53 minutes, and 8 seconds, plus my 10-minute penalty, bringing it to a total of 9 hours, 3 minutes, and 8 seconds, totaling across all 3 games at 19 hours, 59 minutes, and 22 seconds, or about 20 hours.